Hey, welcome back to the OWNR OPS podcast. I'm your host, Austin Gray. In this episode, I have Logan Robinson joining us. Logan is the owner of a short term rental cleaning company in Northwest Arkansas. Logan has been on the podcast before, and when he joined, I was starting the podcast, Logan was starting his business, and he still had his full time job. Since then, Logan has quit his full time job. He has also made a strategic decision to not take on any cleans other than short-term rental / Airbnb cleans. And at the time that he did that, he was at about 10K a month in revenue. He made the strategic decision to turn down those other cleans. He dipped down to 5. And then he put all his effort into growing the business. And now he's at right around 30K a month. Stick around for this whole episode if you want to learn how Logan has thought about specializing in Airbnb cleans and then growing that part of the business. If you are enjoying these episodes, we would sure appreciate a 5-star review. Very similar to building a local service business. 5-star reviews are super important for podcasts. So would you take 30 seconds right now if you're listening on Spotify or Apple and just leave us a 5-star review? You can also follow the podcast. You'll get notified when episodes drop. And if you're listening on YouTube, we would sure appreciate a like and subscribe to the channel. If you have any ideas for who would be a good guest on the show, leave their name in the comments below, and I'll be sure to reach out to them to see if they're a good fit. The OWNR OPS podcast, our mission here is to deliver small business owners with strategies, tools, tips, and tricks to help you grow. Very simply put. So I hope you're enjoying this content. We are having a lot of fun creating this. I appreciate all you guys for listening. I did an update episode about 5 weeks ago, and we had, after I checked the analytics, we had about 35,000 listens. And so I never dreamed that it would turn into this, but I do appreciate your guys' support. I have a ton of fun with this, and I love talking business, and I love talking growth strategies. So thanks again for your support. I hope you stick around. Let's have some fun in this episode. Let's jump into it. Logan, welcome back to the show.
Hey, thanks, man. Appreciate it. Excited to be here.
Yeah, it's good to catch up with you.
Yeah, likewise. I'm glad that I can come back on and tell kind of part 2, right? Last time I was on, I was making some really big changes. And so it'll be cool to kind of walk through what's happened, right? Like what's the aftermath?
For sure. And so last time you hadn't even quit your job yet. So could you give listeners a quick overview if they have not listened to that first episode? Just a quick introduction about you and then where you were at that time, because you had just started and you still had your job at that point.
Yeah, so let's see. The last time I was on your podcast, I think it was like Christmas or Thanksgiving break, one of the 2 breaks, because I was in Michigan at my grandparents' house. And I was talking to you about how we had just transitioned. So I own a cleaning business, right? So it kind of set the stage. I was talking to you about how I was just transitioning from doing all types of cleans, right? Residential, commercial, Airbnb, and just saying, I'm going to hone in on just Airbnb. I'm only going to do Airbnb cleans. Well, like the next day, like I was turning down residential clean requests. Like it was like, no, we are full in, we are only doing Airbnb. Felt kind of dumb, right? Like turning down money, like cleans that I know that we could do and we had space in the schedule to do them. But it was more of a mindset of like, no, I'm digging my heels in. We are only going to do Airbnb. Anyway, so that was, let's see, fall, I can't remember, Thanksgiving or Christmas, but I ended up quitting my job. So I had that conversation with my manager and basically said like, look, this is what I want to do. I want to go full time on my side hustle, make it my main hustle. I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur, right? So this has always been in the cards. So I had that conversation on February 1st. So the first day of the brand new fiscal year for my previous employer. And I said, like, this is what I want to do. Gave my 2 weeks notice. And I quit. And so February 6th, 14th or 16th was my official last day. I think I might have stayed on a day or 2 extra, but yeah, that was my official last day. So it's been a crazy ride since then.
Yes, and I can't wait to dive into it. So real quick, just so our listeners have all the details, you had started as a side hustle, a cleaning business.
Yep.
While you still had your full-time job. And at that time of recording, you were making the decision. I specifically remember this because we were talking about this whole conversation of generalizing versus specializing, and you were actively making this decision to specialize in Airbnb cleans. And if I remember correctly, you even did a rebrand.
Not a rebrand per se, but just like changed up the website and changed up the description and stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay, and remind the listeners your website link.
Yeah, so my company's name is Bonnie and a Broom. There's a whole backstory there. Look, I thought of the name in like 2 seconds. Because I never thought this was going anywhere, right? Like I started this company, if you remember, as part of a competition, as part of just like a 6-week competition. So I was like, first name that pops in my head, that's what it is. My grandma's name is Bonnie. She loves to clean. And it's an alliteration, Bonnie and a Broom, whatever. That's the name. Didn't think about it because I never thought this was going anywhere. Right? Like I never thought this was going to be a thing. Now it's my full-time job. Like now I quit my really cushy job to come start a cleaning company named Bonnie and a Broom. So I mean, there's a whole story there, but I never thought about the name for more than 2 seconds. So I just got to give that backstory. The name is horrible, but it's okay.
It's memorable, and you have the domain bonnieandabroom.com.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the website.
Okay, so let's dive into it. You made the choice to specialize in Airbnb cleans. Here we are. I guess it's longer than 6 months later. It's like I've blinked 3 times and summer is
I know, it's crazy.
gone. Catch us up. How has it been?
Things have been great. Honestly, things have been going really, really well. It's been a completely different change of life experience and pace of life from when I was working full time. So yeah, I quit. So I quit in February. I was putting myself full time on the business for the first time because you're right, it was a side hustle, right? So I was doing probably 2 hours a day, like 1 hour during lunch and 1 hour in the evenings. And I had a virtual assistant, so he was kind of managing everything during the day. But then I was like, the first week I'm doing this full time, I hated it. To be completely honest with you, I was like, what the crap did I just do? 1 week after quitting my job and I was running this full time, I was like, this sucks. Because previously I had a virtual assistant that was dealing with all the drama, right? Cleaner calls in sick. A host is, upset about something, right? So I had kind of a VA to kind of like shelter me from that. And so when I was doing this now full time, now I had to deal with all of that because I eventually parted ways with my VA and I was doing it all full time. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is terrible. I do not want to do this. So about that week, so I quit Friday. Fast forward to the next Friday, I put a job posting up for a full-time manager. I was like, I'm not dealing with this. Put a full-time manager job posting up. So a week after quitting my job, probably like 2 or 3 weeks later, I had hired a full-time manager. She's incredible. I got incredibly lucky. She's with me today, obviously, and I'm so much happier than I was that first week. So I really kind of put the pieces together of I am trying to not be as removed as possible, but try to focus on the stuff that only I can focus on. I'm not the only one that can deal with schedules and respond to cleaners and do all this stuff. So I wanted to put somebody in place that could do that while I focus on networking and meeting with potential clients and really focusing on the high level sales piece of it and the strategy. So she came in, I think she probably came in early March, mid-March, and we've just been gunning. So when I quit, and I'll just walk through the financials with you because I know that's important for your listeners. You're going to think I'm absolutely nuts for doing this. When I was talking to you last, we were doing about 10K a month, $10,000 a month top line, which that's not a lot of money. Like you probably shouldn't quit your job on 10K a month top line, but I was very optimistic and I still feel pretty optimistic about it. And so I had quit. So 10K a month. Then we said, okay, screw it. We're only doing Airbnb cleans. Well, that dropped down to 5K a month because I was only accepting Airbnb cleans and we were like brand new. Like nobody knew who we were at that point. So now we're doing 5K a month. And I'm like, well, this is not great. I'm going to go quit my job. I'm still doing this. Anyway, today we're about 25 to 30K a month. So we've since come back full on after that. And I think at the end of this year, my goal at the end of this year is to be hitting 40K a month by December is kind of my timeline. So it works. It works out. It works out if you put your full force into it.
Good for you, man. I am excited to hear that. I mean, it's such a bold move, and I think so. So something I like about you is from the very beginning, you were not afraid to make those decisions, and it's like some people I think get so caught up in the generalization versus specialization, and that one, and then also another question I've been getting recently is, how do you hire that first person? Because a lot of our listeners are in that solo owner operator.
Yeah.
And just like you, one of the first hires I made was just somebody to help me out with the back office, because it does free you up brain space wise to focus on. Everybody always calls them higher leverage tasks. I just believe it's more like tasks that nobody else is really going to go do.
Right. Sure.
Right. So the specialization thing paid off for you. For the listeners, like, you're hearing that he made a bold decision, went down to 5. Now you're back up with a goal to hit 40 by the end of the year. I'm curious to know, how did you recruit that general manager? How did you go about hiring?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I think if you are, it might just be my personality, but I was really itching to get out of the mundane day-to-day cleaner canceled. Now I got to backfill. Like, I didn't like that at all. Everything was on fire. Like, your hair is always on fire when you're doing that. And I thought, man, I'm going to die super young if this is the rest of my life. And so I got to get some buffer there. I got to find out how to solve this, because I don't want to deal with hair on fire issues every single day. Right. Which, it's inevitable if you're a small business owner, but I think you can buffer it at least a little bit. So the manager that I hired, I had actually, so there's a high-end property management company in my area. They don't just do cleaning. They're the full service property management company, but they only service Airbnbs. And so I had saw her on LinkedIn as a cleaner, and I had reached out to her previously to ask if she would clean for us, because we were looking for cleaners. And she responded, "No, I really enjoy my job, blah, blah, blah." Anyway, so that's kind of the backstory. And so maybe a couple months later, I posted a job for a full-time operations manager on Indeed. Like, there's no secret formula, just on Indeed, a free posting that says operations manager, this is what we do. She was the very first person that applied. And so I immediately recognized her name. I remember that she was like kind when I was messaging her on LinkedIn. Like, I think that kind of stuff goes a long way when you have a positive interaction with somebody. And so I just remember I recognized her name immediately, interviewed her. She obviously knew everything. She had actually been promoted to manager at this property management company. So now she was managing cleaners. She was essentially doing the same thing that I was looking for. She had since quit that company and was looking for her next opportunity. So it was pretty quick. I mean, I interviewed her. She was the first person that applied, first person I interviewed. I think I ended up getting like 30 or 40 applications. I only interviewed 2 people. No, 3. I interviewed 3 people. But I just knew right off the bat that she was exactly what I was looking for. Previous cleaner, promoted to manager, was looking for a next opportunity, like super ambitious. So yeah, that's what she's young. I think she's probably in her mid-20s, but like is looking to grow, like wants to make like a big career. And so that type of ambition, like you can't find in a lot of places. So I knew I had to snag her.
A lot of people bash Indeed, or at least from what I've seen online.
Really?
But it seems I've had luck with it too. It's like,
Yeah.
My question for people who are bashing is like, why not?
Why are they bashing it? What are they saying about it?
Just meaning like, you're like, I've seen some people say things like, you're not going to find, like, your top talent who you're trying to recruit is not lurking on Indeed. And I just haven't had that experience. We've posted on Indeed and had great luck with it. And so it's like, anytime people ask, like, how do you go find this person? It's like, well, have you tried the job boards like Indeed? We have no excuses, entrepreneurs.
So this opens up a can of worms for me. Twitter's great. Twitter's awesome. X, I should say, which is where we met, is X for some context for people. So people like me and that are in my stage of life, right? Like a small business, like will maybe scratch 300K this year. Like that would be amazing if we did. We have small business. The people that are posting on X that are getting a ton of traffic, ton of impressions, are people that are running multi-million-dollar businesses. So they are telling you things that they are currently experiencing, right? Like people on X that are running multi-million-dollar businesses that have capacity to pay 6 figures for somebody. Like, yeah, that might be right that those people are not on Indeed because they're probably getting recruited by headhunters. It's a totally different game. For me, there's no way that I could pay somebody 6 figures. So yeah, the people that I'm looking for, they are on Indeed, right? Like, I'm not going to go hire a headhunter or a recruiter to go find somebody for me. So the people that talk on X that are getting a ton of impressions and a ton of likes, and like they are the business gods on Twitter, they are in a totally different reality than the 90% of people that are following them. The 90% of people that are following them are small business owners. Like there's like people, I'm trying to remember. There's one specific example where they're posting about like, I don't even know. I don't even remember, but just I know that some of the stuff that they're posting and encouraging you to do, don't do it. Like they are saying that from a very different perspective. They have millions of dollars in the bank. They don't need to grind. You need to grind. That's a very different story than what you're hearing. You need to be listening to Austin. You need to be listening to people that are in similar to your situation where they're saying, no, you need to bust your butt and you need to grind. Ignore these people because they have millions of dollars in the bank. You don't have millions of dollars in the bank, so you have to grind. Sorry, that's like a can of worms. So like ignore 90% of what you hear on Twitter because those people have already made it. Like they don't know what they're talking about because they're not in your situation. Sorry.
Man, it's such a good word. And I know you said it opened a can of worms, but I've felt the same thing. Like I see some of those posts and I'm like, why not? Indeed. Obviously it's worked for you. I mean, just as simple as like going to your local coffee shops and just asking people who are working behind the bar. Oftentimes, like that's not a full-time career for them. They're kind of in this like transition phase of life, where they're like maybe just graduated college, they just moved to this place, they're trying to find a full-time role. Simple things like that. And we have no excuse today. There are so many job boards. What is there? I've only used Indeed. I haven't used ZipRecruiter, but
yeah,
to your point, LinkedIn as well. Did you do some what was your thought process on LinkedIn as far as outreach goes?
Yeah, LinkedIn, it was pretty directed. I knew what I was looking for. So I had just typed in, Airbnb cleaner, Bentonville, Arkansas, right? To see if anybody had that on their LinkedIn profile, right? Typically, if you're an Airbnb cleaner, you most likely don't have a LinkedIn profile. Like I think that'd be a kind of a rare exception. But this individual that my manager did, because she's ambitious, right? Like she's going places, and so she did have a LinkedIn profile, and it was kind of just luck that I found her profile, and we had connected a couple of months previously, and so then when her name popped up, I recognized her immediately because we had chatted. So, yeah.
What are some of the things you put in the job description to be very clear about the expectations of what you wanted out of that role?
Yeah. Gosh, I had to go back and remember. It was very focused on, I think I was pretty blunt about it. Like we're a small company, like we're growing, like we have ambitions to be the best cleaning company in Northwest Arkansas. But I think it was pretty clear that we were a small company. And that I was looking for a full-time manager position. So I don't know that there's anything special about it, but it was just, I tried to be honest in the job description.
So in there, it was pretty broad about like you could be wearing multiple different hats.
Oh yeah. I put the like you're in charge of scheduling cleaners. You're going to be talking to hosts. You're going to be doing quality control inspections. You're going to be doing supply purchases. Like you're going to be doing all of these things. I need you to keep the business humming while I'm getting coffee with property managers and I'm like recruiting and I'm interviewing and I'm don't have time to be managing the schedule. Yeah.
Understood. So it sounds like that person manages the schedule, handles coordination of the cleaners.
She runs it. She runs the show. I am a dead weight at this point. Like I tried to really set it up so that this is kind of the example. I took a trip recently. My wife, my kids, and I, we went out to Utah, Nevada, Colorado for 5 weeks. We were gone for 5 weeks, and this is during the busiest part of our season. And she handled all of it. Like she was in charge. She ran it. She was responding to hosts. She was coordinated cleans. Any issues that would pop up, she would deal with it. If it escalated, then we would chat about it. But she was really running the whole show. And that's what I want, right? Like that's my vision. I would much rather make less money and have somebody else do the stuff that I don't want to do. And so I'm very happy with how that went. So I think when I was gone for those 5 weeks, this is going to sound terrible, but I was probably working like 15 hours a week during that time because I was like, hey, we live in Arkansas. We never see our family. I'm going to go out there and have a great time with my family. The business is taken care of. We grew during that time. We hired during that time. We got new clients during that time. And so I really kind of said, she's in she's in place to run this. Let's let her run it. And just did a phenomenal job, did a great job. And so I couldn't have been happier with that. So, yeah.
That's great. So since you made the change to full-time Airbnbs, you said you
Yeah.
dipped down to 5. Now you're back up to 25 or 30. How did you go think about growth at that point? Like, what were some things you did to go get the business on the right track after making that decision?
Yeah. Maybe I'm doing everything wrong. I might be doing everything wrong, but it seems to be working. I don't spend anything in marketing. I don't spend $1 of marketing. So I think we could be significantly bigger than we are, but I don't spend anything in marketing. My biggest thing is just cold outreach. I do cold outreach every single day. My goal is to have 10 conversations with potential customers every single day. So I just DM on Facebook. I post in Facebook groups, I call people, I'm on the website and I'm looking for, Airbnbs in my area, and I'm just cold calling. I was a missionary for my church for 2 years. So I have no problem cold calling, door knocking, doing any of that stuff. So that's been my approach. I'm like, look, I don't want to spend a lot in marketing because frankly, I haven't seen it be that effective from my perspective. And so I think I can do a better job spending 2-3 hours a day trying to get in touch with 10 people. And the math of that is pretty simple, right? So every new customer for us is worth about 8 to 9K a year. And so if I just get that one new customer a week, that's been my goal. I'm going to get one new customer a week, then we'll be able to hit our goals for sure. And so that starts with 10 people a day. Most of those people we already have a cleaner, thanks, but no thanks. But I'll get the occasional 1 or 2 people a day that say, yeah, I would love to get a quote. And then once I'm able to give them a quote, then they can really see, wow, we add a ton of value outside of your typical solo cleaner, right? Like you'll never have to text us to say, hey, the guest just checked out. Are you able to come over? Or we just got a new booking. Can you take care of this? Because we see it all in the calendar. We have it all. We've got the software. We'll never cancel on you, right? Like a lot of people call us in a panic because they say, my cleaner just got in a car accident and they can't make it. Can you come clean? Well, we've got 14 cleaners, right? So we will never cancel on a clean. Anyway, so we do the quote. We're able to show them what the value is of working with us. We're a lot more expensive, obviously. But once I'm able to get that quote in there, then our close percentage is pretty high once I'm able to get an actual quote. And so, yeah, 10 customers a day, try to get at least 1 or 2 quotes out of that, try to close 1 customer a week. And if we do that, we'll be marching toward our goal really simply. So that's kind of how I thought about growth. I know that a lot of people are, just pour money on the marketing machine and just let it go. But I really am trying to be strategic about how fast we grow as well, because I can't just hire any cleaner off the street, right? Airbnb cleaning is really specific. It's really particular, right? Like you have to do staging, you have to do laundry, you have to put supplies, you have to manage all the supplies. Like it's a really specific role. Like you have to know how to treat stains. You have to know how to do crazy stuff that a residential cleaner doesn't typically do. Like staging, like the pillows have to look good and the couch has to look good. The throw blanket, how are you going to put the throw blanket on the couch? Right? Like that's stuff that Airbnb cleaning is very specific for. So I can't just grow super fast because I don't have the talent to back that up. And so 1 customer a week allows me to bring on a new cleaner every couple weeks and grow methodically.
Yeah, you throw around the fact that you have 14 cleaners on your team like it's easy. I think a lot of people who are listening right now are thinking, how do you go find those 14 cleaners who are going to do the cleaning with this much detail?
Indeed, dude. It's all from Indeed. I've gotten them all. I've gotten them all from Indeed. I have three job posts that are just constantly going, and the job applications come in. I look at their experience. If they don't have Airbnb cleaning experience, I really don't even talk to them. They have to have Airbnb cleaning experience already. And so if they have that experience already, we set up an interview. Yeah, so just from Indeed, and that's 14 cleaners, but a lot of those cleaners have been with me for now over a year. So just continuing to build that pipeline.
Wow. Indeed.
Yeah, Indeed. I don't know why people don't like Indeed. I love Indeed.
I love the fact we're having this conversation because I believe it needs to be talked about. And I think you hit the nail on the head earlier. So many people are influenced by these very large accounts who have multi-millions of dollars in their bank account for recruiting. But the reality is, if you're under 500K, and we've seen this too, even at our growth stage, like Indeed works at the local level.
This
I'm
is like,
glad you're bringing it to light.
I'm shocked to hear that you're saying that people are saying it's. I've been off Twitter for quite a while, but I'm shocked to hear that you're saying that people don't believe in Indeed, because I've only ever used Indeed. Like, I didn't know that. It's been great. It's been great for me.
I
So
love that. I
yeah.
love it. So talk to us about your interview process. The screening piece is the fact they do have to accept that or if they do have to state that they have had Airbnb cleaning.
It's very thorough. I really am trying to create the best cleaning company in my area. So it's very thorough. So they apply in the job description. I ask them point blank, do you have Airbnb cleaning experience? If the answer is no, it's like an automatic decline. Like, I'm not going to train you. I just don't have time. I don't want to. I don't have time for that. I'm looking for people that are already experienced, which is really sad. But like, at the same time, like, I have certain goals that I'm trying to reach, and if it's not going to work out, it's just not going to work out. And so we have to set our standard. So, do you have Airbnb cleaning experience? Yes or no? If they say yes, great. Let's hop on a 15-minute phone call. It's a 15-minute video call, and we just get right to it. I ask them, how long you've been cleaning, how many clients do you currently have, stuff about your schedule, where are you located. It's very quick, just to the point. And based on that, if that all sounds good, I give them a quick blurb about our company. Then I ask for references. They give me references. I call those references. If they check out, then I do set up an initial clean. And what we're doing now, we've changed in the past. What we're doing now is we're actually pairing that person up with one of our more seasoned cleaners to go in and say, you guys are going to split this clean, and you're going to do everything that this lead cleaner tells you, right? Because she consistently gets 5 stars. We want you to be just like her. So we're going to pair you up. You're going to do this clean together. Get that. Anyway, so move on from that. Then they're on their next clean. If that doesn't go well, we give feedback. Then they're on their third clean. If that clean still doesn't go well, we cut ties at that point. They kind of have like a 3 clean trial period, one with a training clean, one by themselves, and a third one by themselves. It's kind of like a 3 probationary period. And that's tended to work pretty well. That's been going really well for us. We do quality control inspections on 75% of our cleans. And so we know that even if we hire somebody who's not the best cleaner, we can resolve it with quality control inspections. So that is kind of a buffer for us.
I'm glad you brought this up, because this is one topic I do want to dive into. I saw one of your posts where you said one thing we do at our cleaning company that doesn't scale well, quality control inspections. The total cost for me as a business owner is about 3% of our total revenue, but I believe it's what takes a decent cleaning company to the next level, truly becoming the best. Can you elaborate more on your thought process behind this and how you have implemented it, and then how you are currently doing it right now?
Yeah, absolutely. So, cleaning is a tough job, right? And you could probably apply this to multiple different industries. Cleaning is a tough job. I'm asking these ladies. I used to have a male cleaner, but right now it's just all women cleaners. I'm asking these women to go in, and here's a checklist of 60 items that you have to complete in a 3 to 4 hour time period. And if you make one mistake, like, we're going to hear about it, right? Like, a guest that checks into an Airbnb and finds a hair in the shower, you better believe that guest is going to say something to the host. When a guest, this is what's different between residential cleaning and Airbnb cleaning. A residential cleaning, they know it's not going to be perfect because they live there, right? Like, they know it's not perfect. They know they're disgusting. And so they know it's not going to be perfect. That's the difference between residential and Airbnb. When an Airbnb guest checks into an Airbnb, they are expecting perfection. They are expecting, I'm paying $200 for a cleaning fee and there's a hair in my shower. Like, they really are expecting this clean to be absolutely perfect. So that's why I am asking our cleaners to go in, do 60 plus items on this checklist and have 0 mistakes. It's not possible, right? Like, somebody's going to mess up. Somebody always forgets something. So we have to do quality control to make sure that each clean is perfect. And we have a 5-star guarantee. So if that guest leaves less than a 5-star cleanliness rating, we will refund the clean. That's how serious we are about giving our hosts a 5-star clean. But like, we charge a lot of money, right? Like, we charge a lot for this because the hosts that truly care about their cleaning fee or their ratings are willing to pay a high cleaning fee because they know that higher cleaning ratings lead to more bookings. Anyway, all that stuff. So we have to do quality control because none of our cleaners are perfect, and I don't expect them to be, but I do expect the clean to be perfect, which is so then we do quality control. So like I said, it costs about 3% of my total revenue, which when I was looking at the other day, I was like, dang, that's a lot. Like that's a lot of money that I'm spending on quality control. But if I think about it, like, what would happen if I weren't doing quality control? How many refunds would I have to give? How many hosts would I lose because they're getting bad cleanliness ratings? So it's really important to me that we do quality control. We do 75%. Typically, recently it's been more like 85% of our cleans get quality control, and we do our bonuses based on the results of that quality control. So if that quality control inspector comes in, they have a checklist as well. They've got a checklist of like 30 items that the inspector is supposed to check off. And then they rate at the end of each clean 1 to 5. 1 being this cleaner didn't even show up, this place is a disaster, and 5 being this is a perfect clean. We need to give this cleaner a bonus. So I look over 2 weeks, you look over your average rating over 2 weeks, and if you scored above, I think right now it's a 4.3. We expect a 4, right? Like a 4 is minor mistakes, but overall was a good clean. Like, that's the expectation because we know that nobody's perfect. If you do get a 5, we do give you a bonus, right? So if your average is like a 4.3, I think it is over the past 2 weeks, we'll give you a 5% bonus on each of the cleans that we inspected. So for our top producers, our top cleaners, that's a pretty nice bonus every 2 weeks.
Logan, this is awesome. You have built the bones for an incredible business. I have so many questions, but I know that we only have a couple minutes left.
You're good.
And
I let him know I was going to be late.
well, I want to respect your time. So let's stay on track here because I want to get you back on the show. Okay. And I think this is a good place to wrap it up. But I know you're writing a newsletter where you're diving into more.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
So if you are interested in starting a cleaning business, and if you're listening to this and you have all the questions that I have, like, how did you implement this rating system? Why are you charging more? Why are you committed to delivering 5-star service? Like, how are you recruiting your cleaners? Who is doing quality control? We didn't even get to dive into that yet. So I'm gonna stop the interview right now. I'm gonna let you share with our listeners about your newsletter where you do dive into those topics. And then if we're lucky enough, guys, we'll get Logan back on in another 6 months or so to dive more into these topics. So can you tell us a bit about the newsletter where you do write about these topics?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, shameless plug. So I write a newsletter that's called Same Day Turn. So samedayturn.com. A same day turn, for those that aren't familiar, in the Airbnb space, it's when a guest is checking out and a guest is checking in on the same day. So you have to turn it on the same day. It's called Same Day Turn. It is really all about Airbnb cleaning. Like, it is a super niche topic, but we have over 5,000 subscribers now that are solo Airbnb cleaners, or they have their own cleaning company. They're trying to get into Airbnb cleaning. And so I write twice a week, just like full details about, like, my last newsletter was on quality control inspections, right? How do we do them? How do we pay them? All that stuff. So I dive into how to find new customers, how to interview, what's included in the departure cleaning checklist. So it is like extremely niche. Just Airbnb cleaning. If you're a host as well, you could get some value out of it because a lot of hosts clean their own properties. But yeah, I love it. It's great. We've gotten great feedback. Yeah, go ahead and subscribe. I think it's exciting. So.
That's great. And it is samedayturn.com.
Samedayturn.com. Yep.
Perfect. Well, for listeners, you're probably wondering, all right, Austin, you guys run a tree, forestry, excavation business. You guys are running big equipment. Why Logan, a cleaning business owner, on the Owner Ops podcast? When I started this podcast, I had the assumption that all small businesses have commonalities. And you can hear in Logan's voice when he gets excited about not being the cheapest in the market, charging a fair price to deliver a great service. And he is committed to delivering 5-star service. And he is creating all of these processes to implement into his business. And I believe that's where the similarities are. And so I love bringing people like Logan on, even if we're in different industries, because I believe the thought processes are very similar in how to build a small business. So just sort of to remind you guys like what the Owner Ops podcast is and where we are going. We're going to have multiple different industries on the podcast, from different, all the way from cleaning to excavation to tree service to foundation repair to roofing to plumbing, to you name it. Building and getting the business off the ground, it all has similarities. And so that's our goal here. We want to provide an online resource for small business owners to be able to listen to people like Logan, learn from people like Logan who have sort of been there, done that in the early stages. And so, Logan, once again, thank you for being on. We appreciate you sharing your advice.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, for your listeners, feel free to reach out anytime. On Twitter, I think it's Logan A. Robinson. You can DM me. I have made all the rookie mistakes. I am still making all of the rookie mistakes. So like if you've got questions on, when did you decide to quit your job and all that stuff, I'm happy to respond. So yeah, just another plug for this podcast as well. I've gotten a lot of insight from it, as well as I'm just trying to build. So I think you guys are doing a great job.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And by all means, like, we've all made the mistakes. And I think the important piece is if we get on here and we talk about the mistakes we did make and then how we learned from those, then I believe that's what can help other people who are in the early stages. So thanks again for being on. And listeners, thanks again for listening to another episode of the Owner Ops podcast. If you enjoy this type of content, we would sure appreciate a 5-star review. Very similar to Logan building a great cleaning business, and very similar to me with the goal of building a great tree business here. 5-star reviews are super important for the podcast. So if you wouldn't mind to take 30 seconds and leave us a 5-star review on Apple or Spotify, we'd appreciate it. And if you're listening on YouTube, we'd sure appreciate a like and subscribe. If you have any ideas for great guests for the podcast, leave them in the comments below. And don't forget to work hard, do your best, never settle for less. We'll see you in the next episode. I wanted to introduce you to 2 of my growth partners. Striker Digital specializes in SEO services specifically for local service businesses. Bodie and Andy, the 2 co-founders, have helped me get Bear Claw Land Services to the #1 search result on Google inside my state for my specific search term. If you want to learn more, visit strikerdigital.com. That's STRYKER-digital.com. Secondly, Local Service Marketers specializes in paid ads and unlimited content creation. I've been working with Josh since the beginning of Bear Claw, and all I've had to do is upload my content, photos and video, into a shared iCloud album or Google Drive album, and they handle everything else from there. Think YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, all that is taken off of your plate. It saves you so much time as a local business owner. In doing so, you end up with a very professionally designed social media presence. After the presence is created, then a paid ad strategy can be implemented to help bring you more leads and win you more jobs. If you're interested in learning more, you can visit localservicemarketers.com.